We're here.
Oh,
Hello.
hey. Yes, I've been away for the summer, so I've missed the last couple of these conversations with our demo night winners. So I'm really happy to be here with Tom and Adam and Stu, of course, from Canopy Community. Tom and Adam were our regular monthly demo night on Wednesday and were the People's Choice winners. And so it's a pleasure to talk to you. So let's just start. Would you like to explain to us what your startup is all about?
Yeah, of course. Thank you very much for having us on Wednesday as well. It was an awesome evening. So in essence, what Noggin is trying to do is it's trying to bring founders and investors together. So globally at the moment, 137,000 startups start out each day on average. And at the same time, the investor market is really growing. But we've still kind of got this void in the middle where people can't always meet each other at the right time. We kind of identified that this is being fueled by thin networks, cold outreach, which we all know just sucks, and sort of static profiles that don't capture the true sort of nuances and details of startups and investment thesis. So we decided to build Noggin, which is essentially an agent who speaks fluent founder and investor and really gets to know both sides and introduces you. So it's warm intros on email and a number of other things. So the idea would be when you do go to that first meeting, there's already 30 minutes worth of conversation to know that this is a pretty good match and you guys might really go somewhere.
And where did that idea come from? What was the genesis of that idea?
Yeah, so, why did Adam and I decide to try and do this? Well, when we were working together, we were in sort of this young community of lots of founders, and we kind of identified the big problem was everybody was trying to fundraise. And we knew we were kind of stuck in this moment where we had sort of current methods and we weren't seeing them be that successful. But at the same time, we saw voice technology sort of really have its moment in other sectors. We saw Jack and Jill do really well in the recruitment space. And we kind of saw the power of voice technology basically being the closest thing to human capital we've probably seen yet. And Adam and I thought, okay, this is great. How could we bring that to the sort of pain point that we've been feeling as young founders to really get in front of the investors that would really understand us? I think Adam and I both probably have felt this pain. So Adam's been innovatively building for sort of years and started his own software company, but probably didn't know where to scale it. For me, I was kind of exerting a lot of energy into trying to build a network. But when I did manage to maybe get that one investor call, it probably wasn't the right person and the parameters didn't quite align. So yeah, it's kind of a personal mission of Adam and I to come together and really go after it. And Adam's the wizard behind it all.
Yeah, I think I'll add to that. I think one of the kind of core things we were thinking coming up with the idea was kind of making it accessible to everyone, not just kind of your Oxbridge grads and like people who have family members in the know. We kind of want anyone with a good idea to be able to talk and then kind of get funding and support.
It's brilliant. And I love the fact that you are addressing a pain point. So you have personal ownership of the problem. And I think, Stewart, that's really the key, isn't it, to a successful startup is being the problem owner.
So I've got two reasons why I love this idea. Obviously, I love you guys, right? But there's two reasons why I love this idea. So when I teach this stuff on the master's course, one of the things we talk to people about at the beginning is the best source of entrepreneurship is find something that really frustrates you and aggravates you and makes you restless, and then fix it for yourself, and then fix it for other people that look like you, and then look to the left and look to the right and see if anybody adjacent to you wants it too. And at that point, you got something really good going on, and it kind of feels like it's in that zone. And the other reason I love it is because when we did this research about what are the main barriers to entrepreneurship for the non-standard founder, there were three that were really key. And the third one was access to finance, which was basically, as somebody who comes from a group that doesn't normally do this stuff, it's really hard to find the money. But actually also, I don't have the networks and the way of talking to people to get it done. So you're doing something that we're trying to find answers to. You're trying to remove those barriers in access to funding. And I just love that. We can't find enough answers to that. One of the things we're doing at Canopy is we're starting our own fund called the Zero Barriers Fund to be able to elevate people out of each demo night into some sort of funding regimen that we've got control of. And that's our way of doing it. But your way of doing it is much more at scale than we're going to achieve with the fund, right? It's going to give everybody a better chance.
Yeah.
I would add to that the three things that all entrepreneurs need is funding, networks that provide funding, and you're building that network and helping to build that network and making it kind of more open source in a way, aren't you?
Yeah, it's exactly that bridge. Right now, unless you have a pre-existing network or you've got a crazy amount of money you want to spend on LinkedIn Sales Navigator and just spray and pray as many people as you can, your access to actually getting in front of that person and telling them about your amazing idea isn't there. Access is low. So that network is exactly what we're trying to do. And in the short term, we just have Noggin. We just have one Noggin right now. But the longer term mission is to have sort of an intermediate network of loads of Noggins that specialize in different areas and open the doors for lots of different type of people. Obviously, right now, we're within this sort of tech AI ecosystem, but Adam and I have long-term goals of opening the doors for an entrepreneur who's much further aseas than that.
So tell me, explain the process for me. Let's start with how you two actually met and came together. What's your genesis story?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I went to Edinburgh and studied economics. I wasn't a technical guy by trade. And then I started a business when I was 21 in the events and creative space. Knew entrepreneurship was for me. It was incredibly rewarding. And then I left university, knew I wanted to work in this space. So I applied for startup roles and landed hire number 2 role as a founding operator with 2 really successful tech entrepreneurs who've built and sold massive businesses. And I spent 12 months in their facilities, which was amazing. And then I kind of saw what was going on outside of work with sort of this whole AI bubble. And I really wanted to dive into it. And I guess to my family and friends' disapproval, I decided to quit because I met Adam and we really gelled over the same thing. And I think at this point, Adam, you were still working at the bank.
Yeah. I was still working at the bank at that point. And I mean, we had a lot of conversations. We had a lot of phone calls and kind of meeting up to kind of make the decision, because obviously it's a big decision to kind of quit and go all in on something like this. But I do think it's a real pain point, and I think we have the right solution. So yeah, I made the leap. Yeah.
Yes. It's a weird one because like we didn't know each other crazy well before, but there's obviously lots of like incubators in the UK where you can do co-founder matching and stuff. I'd kind of done some little things with other people, and Adam had partnered with some other guys on some software he'd been building with. But there's just something about us when we started working together, isn't it, Ads? I don't know quite what it was, much more than just complementary skills. We just had this sort of same chip on our shoulder that we'd kind of, our friends might be going off to the pub and stuff, but we just wanted to sort of hang out, get the laptop out and really try and build this, because I guess we're just really addicted to this product.
Yeah. From day one, it's just worked really well.
That's great to hear the chemistry between you, because I think that's really important, because the startup journey is hard, and the incidence of founders falling out is pretty high, isn't it, Stu?
Absolutely, and it's the root cause of the third root cause of startup failure in the first 3 years. I call it, in the discussions we've been having recently about this, the 1 + 1 = 7 or more kind of mentality. Is like between the two of us, I'm doing something much more than we could have achieved apart, and we're actually bouncing off of each other and finding these new things, which is making 7x out of the two of us, but coming together. It's really cool to see, and I really respect your attitude as well, Tom. We saw each other last demo night, first time we've met. You're not hustling me, but I can feel this energy coming from you, and you kind of looked at the demo night and looked at what Sid was doing, and you're like, I can do that. And the next thing I hear is like, yeah, Tom and Adam are going to do the next demo night. Fantastic. But some people would say, oh, I want to think about it a bit. I think I need a workshop. I'm not quite ready. The product's not really there. You guys didn't say that. You're like, yeah, let's go do this. Fantastic. And you owned it. And look at you, people's choice. In the tightest, it was a really high caliber night, right? Last month in Lisbon was also a really high caliber night, but the people's choice vote was plus 47 votes. Like, she totally nailed it. It was just, a country mile. You guys, like, it was so tight between everybody in that voting structure. It was such a big audience. And here you are, the winner now. Amazing.
Yeah. I have to admit, on your point of deciding to do it after the first demo night, I do think having a co-founder and sort of being in it together is so nice, because I obviously came on my own. I kind of rang Adam after. I was like, that was so cool. Like I wouldn't even envision that we would be at the next demo night. And then obviously, I don't think Adam had been at the demo nights. He was just confident on the other end of the phone and was like, yeah, sign us up, we'll do it. I was like, are you sure? And he was like, yeah. And then I think it all became apparent. But yeah, it was pretty daunting, but it was very fun.
Good. I think that's really important that you have the courage to just throw yourself into things, which evidently you've done. So you came together, you met, you had this idea. How long ago was that?
It's probably very end of July, but we'd kind of both been tinkering in the startup space. I'd done some stuff with some other guys I'd met in the, I guess, community, and we're building similar-ish tech stacks. And Adam had been building software as well.
Yeah, we had a very solid idea at that point.
Yeah. And so once you've both given up your jobs, I mean, funding starts to become really important. How are you going to pay your rent? How are you going to survive? What was that process like?
Yeah, very, very stressful. I think, obviously, Adam, I think, ended up leaving the bank officially at the beginning of September. I left my job at the beginning of August. We'd both run some businesses when we were younger that I mentioned at the beginning, which kind of, I guess, put us in a position to be okay for this period now. And Adam had done a lot of sort of NLP stuff, which is a lot in the back end of our product when he was younger on some other projects. And we actually got a grant for some of the voice providing for this product. So from that sort of avenue, we were okay. But now we're running into sort of thinner ice and sort of, again, looking to a raising around.
Are you going to be using your own platform to do that then?
Yeah,
eventually.
We thought it would be a good idea to raise through the own platform. At one point, we had a discussion about, are we going to bootstrap this thing? And then we thought, this is incredibly ironic. If we bootstrap a fundraising platform, we can't do that. So yeah, we probably will raise through Noggin.
So is that the stage that you're at the moment now? Are you actively going out looking for some pre-seed or seed investment?
Yeah, we're doing okay. We're going to raise 150,000 in a pre-seed ticket, but we're not reliant on that to launch. We can still launch the beginning of November, which is when we want to, and sort of both doing those things in parallel. I think because obviously we're a marketplace and you have the traditional problem of a cold start, we want to hit critical mass, and we want to hit critical mass quite quickly so we can be defensible as the first mover in this sector. So yes, we are raising, but we also want to launch as soon as possible.
Yeah. So you sort of started your startup whilst you both had jobs, and now you're just taking that leap of faith. Is that where you're at?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Definitely took the leap early. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so Tommy, how do events like Demo Night really benefit founders like you? What are the things that you learn from that?
I think the feedback was really good. Talking to people afterwards, we just got heaps and heaps of feedback and a lot of questions. I mean, I was just getting questions like fired at me for half an hour about, you know, some stuff I've never even considered, which was really useful. And kind of people reaching out on LinkedIn who have tested the product and given feedback, which is really valuable. Yeah, I think just getting it out there and actually getting some real people's opinions on it just kind of reminds us, like, yeah, people really want something like this.
Yeah, I think it's definitely that. It's validation of the problem. So yeah. I did this before with the business I was trying to do. I was like solving a problem that A, I don't know if it's a problem, and B, I really didn't understand it. So Adam and I have been building behind closed doors, like moving around communities and stuff. But I think the most rewarding thing, like we're almost doing right now, getting in front of people and speaking to people about what you're building, is validating that there's a genuine demand for it. And I think that was our first sort of aha moment when we've been building loads, we've done customer discovery campaigns, but just being face to face with a big room of people and then getting the People's Choice Award, especially when it's a crowd of founders and investors, knows that we probably are onto something. So I think that's the biggest takeaway. And I think it's a catalyst for moving forward. And I think people should really jump on it if they can.
Yeah, I agree. I wonder as well, though, part of that People's Choice Award, the fact that you won it, is because you could demo your product. And a lot of founders rely on slides and explain what their product is, but they haven't quite got to the point where they can show it. And there is nothing more powerful than demonstrating your product live. And you did that in the room, which was really kind of powerful, I think is the word.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a risk demoing a product that's not launched yet. You know, things can go wrong. Luckily, it went very well. I do think for something like a demo night, just having something to show and letting people have that like aha moment is really powerful.
Yeah, I went to the last month's demo night and I saw Sid do his demo, and I absolutely loved it. And it was the one that I went home telling Adam about. It's the one that you remember about. And then I was watching the live stream after the event, and he was saying, you know, if he had one advice, he would do a demo. So we kind of looked at that advice, saw that he got the win, and Adam and I then started planning. And I think the other thing I'd say is, while there is potentially a high risk something could go wrong, you're in a room of really safe people and people want you to do well. And I think there's nothing better than just showing your product, because that's what you're actually really proud of, is like what you've built. And I know it might be daunting, but yeah, I think if you get 5 minutes to go up there and show something that people haven't potentially seen or used before, then that's definitely what you should do.
Yeah, and Stewart, that's kind of the ethos behind demo night, isn't it? It's not pitch night, it's demo night for a reason.
No. And people use it in lots of different ways, you know, and there was a reverse pitch on the night, right? So that's another way you can use the evening. And we've had some people stand up there and say, look, everybody, I'm thinking about working on an idea in this kind of space. What do you all think? And like, it's really pre-napkin, if you like, in terms of where you use it. And we've had people like Pike Drive stand on the stage and say, we're moving to Lisbon. We don't really know what it's like to be Portuguese. Can you teach us about the ecosystem? This is what we are. This is what we do. We're trying to hire, like, localize us. There's all sorts of ways you can use it. But the essence of the model is, if you were Coca-Cola and you came here and you pitched, you put up a slide, you tell us about the formula, you give us all the scientific stats, but there would ultimately be a picture of a can of Coke in front. What we want from you at demo night is give everybody a can of Coke, get them to drink it, and let them tell you how nice it is. And that's the kind of difference of the whole ethos. And the experience for the audience is then I get to tell you what I think, and maybe I'm your perfect customer, and this doesn't taste good to me. Or if it had a little bit of lemon in it, I'd probably buy it, right? And that's the sort of thing you don't always have in your head as a founder. And you certainly don't have enough, because everything about your product roadmap should be, my target customer told me this, so I've done it. Rather than, I've thought about this thing and I've convinced my target customer that it's great. Right? You know, that's the wrong mindset.
Yeah. And you are right, Tom, in what you said earlier, that it's a room full of founders and funders. So it's a perfect service design moment for you. You're demoing your product in front of your end users. So it's brilliant that you got such positive feedback. I wanted to ask you both what your top 3 tips for any aspiring entrepreneur would be. So somebody looking at this thinking, I'd really like to do what Tom and Adam have done. I don't really know where to start. What are your tips?
Yeah. Okay. So my 3 tips would be, if you're the foundation, so if you're building a business and you want to do it with someone, co-founder matching, as we mentioned at the beginning, is so important. I probably got lucky to find Adam after working with 2 or 3 other people, but sort of finding a dance partner that wants to sort of take it on with you is really important. I think the second one, which probably was stupid of me to not do the first time, but solve a pain point you know about. Solve something you remotely know about, and you felt yourself. Trying to solve something that you don't really know about is just a bit stupid. And then I think get out there, be really brave, go to demo nights like this. This is one of our best moments to date, from building behind closed doors. You know, you need to go out there, be with people, because sometimes it's hard if you don't have these communities. So go to a place like Canopy, go to as many communities you can, and just speak to people, because everyone's in the same boat.
Yeah. I would say, I'd say some pretty similar points, to be fair. I think my first point would be kind of the team. The team is everything. I would love to make a company with some of like my best friends, but I think it lacks professionalism. I think it works a lot better. Me and Tom, we were colleagues first, you know, we were partners before we became friends. I think that's why the dynamic works really well. I would also say change is very good. Put yourself out there, really out of your comfort zone, and just like totally change what you're doing and take risks, especially if you're young, because it's the time to be doing it. And just network as much as possible, because everyone wants to help you, especially in London. There's so many people trying to help young founders in this space. So if you just network as much as possible, you're making the world like a much smaller place. You're getting closer to those people who can support you.
Brilliant. They're really great tips, actually, both of you. 6 really good tips. What do you think, Stu?
You know, sometimes people say those words like put yourself out there, get out of your comfort zone. And it's really interesting, right? Because the big thing to remember about that is it's uncomfortable, right? And I watched you guys on the evening talking to people, hearing some things you didn't want to hear, hearing some things you understood. It is cringeworthy sometimes, the things that they say to you. You know, even when I did the fireside chat with Liam, some of the questions were like, okay, we haven't thought about that, right? You know, it was really
dealt with that really well. That was funny.
And you've got to run towards it, right? You've got to embrace that stuff. And if your mindset can be, they're asking me questions I don't know, that's brilliant, versus, oh my God, I've got to know everything, then you're in the right place. And if you wait to know everything, you've missed your window. If you use those questions to build your window, you're constantly chasing this opportunity, which is fantastic. And I really admire the way that you guys use that room and are even using today to just like keep learning, keep moving. The speed you're going at, you know, you're going to break through into the stratosphere as quickly as you can, or you're going to die into a wall, like you're going to be flamed out, right? It's going to be great. But that's perfect. That's where you should be.
Yeah, completely agree.
But also, you are right. There are a lot of people who have been on the journey you're embarking on. You know, the awards on the wall behind me are because I've had a long career and I've been successful, and I've run a business and sold a business, and I understand team building, I understand entrepreneurship, and I really want to give back. I love interacting with people like you at the beginning of your journey. And at Demo Night on Wednesday, there was a former CFO of a Fortune 500 company who'd come along because he'd heard about it and he just wanted to get involved because he's at the end of his career and wants to give something back. And there was a first-year student from Bayes who came along because he wasn't sure what he wants to do, but he wants to be inspired to do something. So it's the diversity of thought and experience and sharing that diversity that is really important, I think.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, Stu, when's the next demo night?
So second Wednesday of November. There are actually 2 demo nights going on the same night, one in London, one in Lisbon. So it's going to be interesting. Yeah, and obviously the second Wednesday of December, there's also one, and we've got a big celebration, a webinar celebration, as well as all the People's Choices awards that have happened this year. For Canopy, we've been involved in running a ridiculous 22 demo nights this year, which is something that you don't often see on our calendar, let alone anybody else's. And so there's a lot of People's Choice winners from different countries and stuff coming together, and you guys will be part of that celebration. And we allow ourselves, in a very Portuguese and British way, you don't stand up and shout rah, rah, rah very often. But once a year we do, and we say, isn't it amazing what you guys are achieving? Isn't it amazing what all these people have done? And look at these incredible things that they're doing. And we've just been gathering, like, you know, data from the people that were People's Choice in January, what's happened to you in the year and all that kind of stuff. And it's phenomenal to see what people are doing. Luckily, all of them are still around, right? Nobody's crashed into that wall yet, but they're all like, oh, I've raised 300K, or I've got my first 700 customers, and all sorts of random stuff that's in there. And I'm really looking forward to that as well. But can I just say, by the way, I've got one ask for you too. One, and you're already doing it, but I just wanted to be mindful about it. Yeah. As you go through your journey, every once in a while, just give half hour to another founder who you can share and kind of pull through, because you already did it in the room with some of the conversations and some of the people that witnessed what you were doing and stuff. But if you can do that as you go through your journey, that would be amazing. I'd really appreciate it.
100%. Definitely do that.
Yeah.
Great. And Stu, when you publish this podcast, can you put in the comments the links to Canopy and City Ventures, so that people will be able to find out when the next demo night is, and there's quite a lot of free services and support that they can plug into as well. And I hope you guys will plug into it. The university offers quite a lot of free support for entrepreneurs, and you don't have to be a student or an alumni of the university to access those things.
Yeah,
and I know that Canopy does a lot. Yeah. So we'll put those links in the comments. Yes, Stu?
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Good. So that's it. That's
Thanks, guys. Yes. Wish you every success.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
And, speak to you.
Thank you very much again for Wednesday. It was awesome, and we'll see you the next one.
Fantastic.
Cheers.
You saw well.